gold is going to go up, and I've been saying that for 12 years on air, and I've been proven right. I mean, I've been promoting gold for 12, 13 years of my 15 years on air because, quite frankly, the first 3 years I didn't know much about gold. And, I mean, has it been borne out? Absolutely. Could they do some kind of new Mickey Mouse thing and drive it down? Maybe for a time. But all the rules of history and fiat currency show it's going one place in the overall time frame, and that's straight up, like Mount Everest is straight up. But, I mean, Don, if you disagree, tell us why.
No, I don't disagree. I just can never get an answer to that question. I mean, how come prices haven't at least kept pace with gold? I mean, that'd be like they've been artificially kept down. Inflation kept the price down, not of gold, but of cars and haircuts and.
Well, Bob, I don't. Bob, I don't know. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but. I've seen the numbers in the past. I mean, aren't most of the inflation numbers completely cooked? I mean, everybody knows that.
Right now, inflation's 8%, and they're not going to tell you that. In fact, they were showing a minus figure, if you can believe that, the other day in the CPI. I mean, what do they think? We're stupid? I mean, that's why we have an outside figure, other than the official figure, since 1980, because we compile those numbers. But I think the bottom line here is for 7 years now with the dollar and for about 5 years with all other currencies, every single one of them have fallen against the value of gold because they're all fiat currencies with the exception of the euro, which is in serious trouble.
And they're all being debased.
They have about 7% backing. What was that?
They're all being debased.
They're all being debased. Why? Because people don't have any faith in them. Because the debt that has been incurred by governments, individuals, corporations is staggering, to say the least.
All right, let me bring this up.
None of it can be paid off.
Let me bring this up, Bob. I want to hold you for one more segment to talk to Steve, Ralph, Eddie, Truth Patriot, and a few others. But this Telegraph article, U.S. money supply plunges at 1930s pace as Obama eyes fresh stimulus. So they've pumped trillions and trillions in, but then they're telling us they're reducing the money supply. So what, are they hoarding it all for the banking institutions to consolidate power and then really not pumping any of it into the economy?
That's right. And the Federal Reserve will not tell you, in their new swap agreement, how much money they're going to use. The last swap agreement, which ended in February, was about 15 months. They used $583 billion. They never told us whether they ever got the money back or not. We can't believe what's on their books because we can't audit them. Oh, sure, they put out one statement, but that's not good enough.
Bob, do one more segment with us. We'll be right back. Stay with us, folks. Infowars.com, theinternationalforecaster.com. Yeah, I'm not mad at Don in Hawaii. I mean, it's an interesting question. I just don't think he was getting what we were saying. The currency has been massively debased. Some products are still cheaper than they should be, even though the currency's been debased by 97% plus, because the world still takes dollars as the world reserve currency, and so energy is denominated in it, and so is widgets from China and India and Mexico, and so that does create a financial illusion over some of the currency destruction. Correct, Bob Chapman?
It does, and that's why the price of gold in all currencies has been appreciating for the last 5 years, and particularly for 7 years in the U.S. dollar. And, this fight, deflation versus inflation, has been going on for 7 years. We've had inflation because the Federal Reserve has created more money and credit than was necessary because they didn't know exactly how much to create in order to subdue the underlying deflation, which was caused mainly by the fallout in the real estate industry, not only in America but in other
That's right.
countries
Some of it is masked because Main Street is dying even while you have debasement of the currency, which should generate inflation.
I got a phone call the other day. I called somebody on their cell phone in Las Vegas. They were going in to get a cup of coffee, and the man said to me, the coffee shop is the only place left open. there's 15 other establishments that are closed.
Yeah, I was in Vegas. Joe Rogan had me out there to watch a fight and last year, and it was already, business was down by 50%, the taxi drivers told me, going to the hotel. And I talked to everybody else, because I don't gamble, so I'd be over there eating, eating an omelet at the restaurant, looking at the casino, and I just talked to everybody, and they just said it's dead. And now the word is Las Vegas is imploding.
I think it's going to become a semi-ghost town. And I think the people, when they had the largesse, the credit card, whatever, to go out and spend more than they should, they didn't mind being cheated. And that's exactly what Vegas is. The odds are in their favor, and when you try to level the odds, they throw you out. I know, I've been there. I get thrown out, as I was a professional card counter. And so why would anybody want to go there anymore and do that? And that's what's happening. And it's not only Las Vegas, it's all the gambling emporiums in the world.
Yeah, it's totally rigged. For like a couple of, I think it was like half a year in college or something. I forget the whole story. My wife was in college in Florida, and she worked at a bar that was for like old people, and they had, prizes for blackjack. It wasn't actual gambling, but, in between serving drinks, she'd deal blackjack. So the few times I've been around her where there is a blackjack table, she always starts winning, and then guys in suits come over and start looking and start getting mad just because she's dealt blackjack and knows how to win. I mean, these places are completely rigged.
That's right. And that's wrong. And in the early 1960s, I think it was Professor Thorpe, I wrote a book on the subject, which I read, and I was a fast study. And I didn't live far from Las Vegas, so I went over and used it very successfully. He now manages and has managed money for some years. But you can see the synergy between the two. Gambling's gambling.
It's amazing. Let's jam in one call, and I'll come back with more calls after Bob leaves us. Steve in Chicago, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm referencing now two articles, one from Der Stern and the other one from Der Spiegel, Tagesspiegel. And they talk about the disagreement of Geithner. Geithner is in Berlin, or was in Berlin in the last 24 hours, and he's trying to foist a plan of more borrowing on Deutschland, and Wolfgang Schäuble is resisting this. Now, Geithner does not like the German propositions of prohibiting, what do they call that when you sell, you predict a loss?
Derivatives.
Yeah. Well,
shorting.
No, shorting.
Yeah,
shorting.
We're almost out of time. Let me get a comment from Bob Chapman. Yeah, Germany, at least on the surface, I saw an article he wrote about this, has put some rules in to stop the wolves coming in and trying to destroy their country. Comment on that in the last 30 seconds.
Naked shorting. When you short, you have to have a collateralized piece of paper or a thing to offset the shorting process. It's part of the rules. And they're naked shorting. The professionals, speculators, are doing it without collateralization. The bottom line is it's illegal, it's wrong. Derivatives are not collateralized. They should be done away with. But the bankers don't want to do that, because if you do, the whole system will implode at the wrong time. They want to implode it at the right time. And I hope the Germans don't bend on this. I hope they stick to their guns.
Folks can get a free copy of the International Forecaster at internationalforecaster.com. We'll talk to you soon, Bob. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all.
I'll be back.